Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump says EU tariff deal 100% guaranteed as he hosts Italian Prime Minister Meloni at White House. Meloni invites Trump to visit Rome. Trump says US was in talks with China on tariffs, expresses confidence that the US would reach a trade agreement with China soon.
I would think over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think maybe the whole thing could be concluded.
Trump announces April 24th as the new date to sign Ukraine minerals deal. Memorandum of intent signed between US and Ukraine on rare earths deal. Hamas rejects Israel's latest truce proposal, says ready to release all hostages in return for an end to Gaza conflict, release of Palestinians jailed by Israel and reconstruction of Gaza. Christians around the globe observe Good Friday to commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Donald Trump and Giorgia Meloni talked up the chances of a trade deal between the US and Europe as the Italian Prime Minister visited Washington. The host president said that the US would reach a trade deal with the EU before the end of his 90-day pause on tariffs, asserting that the chances of it are 100%. Meloni too echoed similar sentiments as she expressed surety of an agreement soon.
Oh, there'll be a trade deal, 100%. Oh, well, you think there won't be? Of course there'll be a trade deal. Very much. They want to make one very much, and we're going to make a trade deal. I fully expect it, but it'll be a fair deal.
Somebody calls me such a Western nationalism. I don't know if it is the right word, but I'm sure that together we are stronger. And I have to find a way. I'm here to find the best way to make us both stronger on the two shores of the Atlantic.
The two leaders also discussed defense spending and immigration, on which Trump praised her Italian counterpart for her strong armed approach to immigration in Italy, calling her an example for the rest of Europe. While Meloni said that change was happening thanks to the example set by Italy, referring to yesterday's EU announcement on safe countries. Besides, another major news that came out of the meeting was Trump agreeing to an official visit to Rome and considering meeting representatives of the European Union while there too. A day after saying that the ball is in China's court, Trump on Thursday signaled a potential end to the tit-for-tat tariff hikes that shocked markets. Speaking in the Oval Office, Trump said that the two sides are in talks to make a deal on tariffs and that it can be made over the next 3 or 4 weeks. The president stressed on having a good relation with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping.
I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to continue. And I would say they have reached out a number of times.
Xi or they?
Well, the same. I view it very similar. It would be top levels of China. And if you knew him, you would know that if they reached out, he knew exactly. He knew everything about it. He runs it very tight, very strong, very smart. And yeah, we're talking to China.
Ukraine and the United States on Thursday signed a memorandum as an initial step towards the clinching of an agreement on developing minerals in Ukraine. Kyiv's first Deputy Prime Minister and Economy Minister, Yulia Severentenko, did not publish the details of the memorandum, but said that work continued towards securing a final agreement. Kyiv and Washington had discussed signing a deal on extracting Ukraine's strategic minerals in February, but a clash between US President Donald Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky temporarily derailed work on the agreement. Trump said that he wants the deal, designed to give the U.S. royalty payments on profits from Ukrainian mining of resources and rare minerals as compensation for aid given to Ukraine by his predecessor, Joe Biden. Hamas on Thursday rejected Israel's latest proposal of partial Gaza truce. In a televised speech, Khalil al-Hayya, who leads the Hamas negotiation team for indirect talks with Israel, said the group refused an interim truce deal. He said Hamas was ready to immediately negotiate a deal to swap all hostages for an agreed number of Palestinians jailed by Israel and the reconstruction of Gaza as part of a broader deal to end the conflict. Egyptian mediators have been working to revive the January ceasefire agreement that halted fighting in Gaza before breaking down last month, but there has been little sign of progress, with both Israel and Hamas blaming each other for lack of the deal. Israel restarted its offensive in Gaza in March, and talks to try to restore the ceasefire have so far failed to achieve a breakthrough. Tension between U.S. and Yemen further escalated as the United States military struck the Ras Isa fuel port in western Yemen to cut off a source of fuel for Iran-backed Houthi militants. A Houthi health ministry spokesman said on X that the attack killed at least 17 people and injured dozens of ports workers. The U.S. began large-scale strikes last month against Iran-aligned Houthis, saying it would not stop unless they cease their attacks on Red Sea shipping. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments on May 15th regarding President Donald Trump's executive order restricting automatic birthright citizenship. The executive order, signed on January 20th during Trump's return to office, directs federal agencies to deny citizenship to children born in the United States unless at least one parent is a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. Federal judges in 3 different states blocked Trump's order, and it will remain halted while the court considers the case. After the Supreme Court's announcement, Trump said that the case over his executive order to restrict automatic birthright citizenship is easy to win.
I think the case has been so misunderstood. That case, birthright citizenship, is about slavery. If you look at the details of it, the signings of it, everything else, that case is all about slavery. And if you view it from that standpoint, people understand it. But for some reason, lawyers don't talk about it. The news doesn't talk about it. That's not about tourists coming in and touching a piece of sand and all of a sudden they're a citizenship. They're a citizen.
A deputy sheriff's son killed 2 people and wounded 4 others at Florida State University on Thursday before he was shot by officers and was hospitalized. Police believe the gunman, the son of a Leon County Sheriff's deputy, acted alone and a motive was not known. The suspect had access to his mother's handgun, which was once her service weapon. Responding, police officers shot the gunman when he failed to obey orders to surrender and took him into custody. The 4 wounded victims plus the gunman were taken to the hospital with gunshot wounds. Mass shootings on the U.S. school campuses have become recurring tragedies in recent years. Thursday's incident was the second shooting on FSU campus in 11 years. U.S. President Donald Trump described shooting as terrible and said that he had an obligation to protect the Second Amendment, which asked if he saw a need for a gun reform.
Only in terms of what happened. As far as legislation is concerned, this has been going on for a long time. I have an obligation to protect the Second Amendment. I ran on the Second Amendment, among many other things, and I will always protect the Second Amendment.
A federal grand jury has indicted Luigi Mangione, who is accused of murdering United Health Group executive in New York last year, allowing prosecutors to seek the death penalty in his case, according to court filings on Thursday. Mangione is already facing state murder and weapons charges in New York, which does not have death penalty. The federal indictment does not include new charges but raises the strikes for Mangione, who has pleaded not guilty to the state charges. Brian Thompson, the deceased CEO of United Health's insurance division, was shot dead on December 4th outside a hotel in Midtown Manhattan, where the company was gathering for an investor conference. A cable car accident near Naples in southern Italy on Thursday left 4 people dead and 1 critically injured. According to media reports, the incident occurred after one of the supporting cables broke. 16 passengers were stranded in a cabin that halted mid-air near the base of Monteferrato, about 45 kilometers southeast of Naples, and were rescued one by one using harnesses. Rescue efforts were made difficult due to heavy fog and strong winds. Mali's financial sector shut down as workers launched a 72-hour strike over union arrests and poor working conditions. Mali's financial sector came to a standstill, organized by the National Union of Banks, Insurance, Financial Institutions, Microfinance, Oil Companies and Businesses. The union warned that the strike may extend to 120 hours starting April 22nd if its demands are not addressed, including the release of detained union members accused of financial misconduct. So far, the government has not issued a public response. Key sectors like banking, insurance and oil were completely shut down, with no essential services maintained. The Colombian government declared a nationwide health emergency late on Wednesday due to an increase in yellow fever cases. According to Health Minister Guillermo Alfonso Yaramillo, the outbreak has resulted in 74 confirmed cases and 34 deaths since the start of last year. Yellow fever is a viral disease transmitted by the bite of Aedes and Haemophilus mosquitoes. Yaramillo stated that the most critical situation is in Tolima in central West Colombia, where 22 cases have been detected. Various medical tents were set up at the transport terminal in Bogota on Thursday to help mitigate the spread of the epidemic. Nearly half of the homes and businesses in Puerto Rico that received electricity from the Commonwealth's main utility were still without power. A day after a widespread blackout struck the island, Luma Energy said in a statement. Puerto Rico's electrical system has continued to falter since 2 powerful hurricanes devastated it in 2017, decimating the grid and killing nearly 3,000 people, according to the official estimates. On New Year's Eve last year, an underground power line was the most recent failure that led to island-wide blackouts. Following overnight aerial patrols with helicopters, Luma said that the preliminary analysis suggested a number of factors had caused the power outage. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Google faces antitrust suit on acquisition of dominating digital advertising that could dent the tech giant's revenue prospects. It's a treat for tourists. Marking World Heritage Day, visit to all ASI protected monuments will be free across India on April 18th. In sports, Mumbai Indians beat Sunrisers Hyderabad by 4 wickets in the IPL.
Bharat welcomes the world to a new era of creativity. Waves World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit as Mumbai hosts the global stage for creativity and innovation. Connecting creators through Creatosphere, where emerging voices rise. Wave Accelerator, where ideas meet global investors. Waves Bazaar, a global marketplace for content. Connecting countries through global media dialogue and industry roundtable. Bharat Pavilion, capturing India's rich history of storytelling.
वेव्स के रूप में भारत एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने जा रहा है जिसमें दुनिया के एंटरटेनमेंट लैंडस्केप पर उसको बदलने की क्षमता होगी.
From culturals to cinema, gaming to animation, fueling the next wave of entertainment. Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a high-level meeting to review issues related to cleaning of the Yamuna River and Delhi's drinking water supply. Prime Minister affirmed that the centre will work closely with the Delhi government to ensure world-class infrastructure and ease of living for people of Delhi. On Tuesday, the government held its first Expenditure Finance Committee meeting for 2025-26 and approved a project focused on cleaning the Yamuna. Under this project, the government approved the construction of 27 sewage treatment plants in the capital. Updates from the world of business now. In a strategic move to strengthen transparency and efficiency in the coal import monitoring, the Ministry of Coal has implemented the coal import monitoring system. By enabling real-time monitoring and informed decision-making in coal imports substitution, this initiative represents a significant milestone in the government's vision of ensuring Atmanirbhar Bharat. CIMS is a digital platform developed to streamline the reporting of coal imports, ensuring timely and accurate data for effective policy formulation and sectoral analysis. Coal importers are now required to register the details of their consignments in the CIMS portal or prior to the arrival of shipments in the Port of India. For the first time in its 136-year legacy, India's Singareni Collieries Company Limited began mining activities outside Telangana. The coal production activities have started in Odisha's Naini coal block on Thursday. Though the Naini coal block was allotted to SCCL 9 years ago, delays in obtaining various clearances prevented mining operations. With the launch of the Naini coal block, Singareni sets the stage for a new phase of national and international growth while strengthening interstate cooperation and regional development. Japanese core inflation accelerated in March to 3.2% from 3% in February. The year-on-year rise in consumer prices, excluding fresh food in the world's fourth biggest economy, was in line with market expectations. Excluding energy as well, prices rose 2.9% as compared to 2.6% in February, but overall inflation eased to 3.6% from 3.7%. Grain prices rose 25.4%, with rice prices logging an enormous 92.5% jump. A U.S. judge ruled that Google illegally wielded monopoly power in the online ad technology market in a legal blow that could rattle the tech giant's revenue engine. The federal government and more than a dozen U.S. states filed the antitrust suit against Alphabet-owned Google, accusing it of acting illegally to dominate three sectors of digital advertising, that is, publisher ad servers, advertiser tools, and ad exchanges. The judge concluded that Google further entrenched its monopoly power with anti-competitive customer policies and by eliminating desirable product features. Netflix on Thursday reported quarterly earnings slightly better than analysts expected, saying it is staying focused on what it can control as the overall economy is rolled by U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war. The streaming television service declared itself off to a good start in 2025 with a profit of $2.9 billion on revenue of $10.5 billion in the first quarter of the year. Shares in Silicon Valley-based company were up nearly 3% in aftermarket trades. Netflix has been steadily improving its ad platform as viewers continue to turn away from traditional television to streaming shows on demand. An all-round show from Will Jacks powered Mumbai Indians to a 4-wicket win over Sunrisers Hyderabad in their IPL match on Thursday. After restricting Hyderabad to 262 for 5, Mumbai Indians chased down the target with 11 balls remaining. The win marked Mumbai Indians' third victory in this season's IPL, elevating them to 7th position with 6 points, while Hyderabad remained at the 9th position with 4 points. Mumbai's Will Jacks showed an all-round performance after he struck 2 for 14 before top scoring with a 26-ball 36 run. Meanwhile, for Sunrisers Hyderabad, Abhishek Sharma top scored with 40 runs, while Henrik Claessens contributed 37 runs in the total. From cricket to tennis, Spanish tennis legend Rafael Nadal is set to be honoured on the opening day of this year's French Open. The 38-year-old Nadal won 14 of his 32 majors at Roland Garros in Paris, but suffered his earliest exit after a first-round defeat by Alexander Zverev last year. He did not say then if it was the last time that his adoring Parisian fans would watch him in action at the major. However, the Spaniard retired from professional tennis later at Davis Cup finals in November. World Heritage Day, also known as the International Day for Monuments and Sites, is celebrated on April 18th every year. The goal is to encourage individuals and local communities to cherish their cultural heritage. In addition to monument preservation, the day seeks to raise public awareness of the diversity and fragility of the cultural assets. To celebrate the day, India's Cultural Ministry has announced that no fee shall be charged from visitors to ASI-protected monuments across India on April 18th. This initiative aims at encouraging visitors to explore India's rich cultural heritage. This year's theme for World Heritage Day is Heritage Under Threat from Disaster and Conflicts, where awareness is being spread on safeguarding the heritage sites from natural or man-made disasters, threats or conflicts. Today, Christians around the world are marking Good Friday, one of the most sacred days on the Christian calendar. Why is it called Good Friday? Despite being a sad and sorrow day, many believe that the origin of Good Friday is from the English term God's Friday. All over the world, people stop on this day, Good Friday, to remember, grieve, reflect and to hope.
Good Friday commemorates the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, a central figure in Christianity. According to Christian belief, Jesus, who is the second person of the Holy Trinity, was executed by crucifixion more than 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem. His death is seen not just as a moment of loss, but as an act of sacrifice and love believed to have been for the forgiveness of humanity's sins. On this day, churches around the world hold solemn services, prayers, and reenactments of Jesus' final hours. In many countries, processions are held in the streets, and some believers fast or reflect in silence. Despite being called Good Friday, the day remembers a painful and tragic event. But Christians call it good because it represents hope, the belief that Jesus' death led to new life, a message that will be celebrated on Easter Sunday. From small villages to major cities, today is a day of reflection, faith, and remembrance, uniting millions across cultures and continents. Good Friday is observed by nearly 2.4 billion Christians worldwide. And while customs vary, the message at the heart is the same, one of sacrifice, love, and hope. Bureau Report, DD India.
With that, we end this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.